Hey everyone, it's Justine Browning here at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City to talk to the cast of Trumbo. This character, Dalton Trumbo, he was such a larger-than-life personality, and yet you humanize him and make him so relatable. I was wondering if you could talk a bit about that.
Well, I think that's how the character first starts to seep into me, is that I need to see him as a relatable person, as a human being that has good points and bad, and I want to take in all of them, not to just show his good qualities, and he certainly did have some bad qualities. But this is a fight about civil liberties, and he didn't ask for this fight. It came to him, but he wasn't about to back down. And he fought for all the people on the blacklist who were being oppressed and having their civil liberties in jeopardy.
Yes,
and he paid the price. He went to jail for a year. He lost his ability to support his family, use his name, and pursue his livelihood. And it's a dark period in American history, but hopefully that'll be the lesson.
We see that he's so creative in the bathtub with a cigarette and a drink.
Yeah.
Why do you think he was most serene at that point and creative?
Actually, working in the bathtub was actually very pragmatic.
Yeah.
Because he was always hunched over, pecking on his typewriter, his doctor told him, "You need to soak your back. You need to soak your back in Epsom salt like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day." And he said, "Well, I can't do that." And then he realized, I can only do that if I brought my work with me. So he set up a whole bathtub office.
Hedda Hopper was someone who wanted to succeed in the entertainment industry herself. She wanted to be a performer, but couldn't. I'm wondering how you think that affected her and the path that she ultimately went on.
I wonder. I mean, I think, yes, certainly I think she saw the film business. She started off, of course, in the theatre, but she saw the film business and I think absolutely fell in love with it. And particularly, I think, fell in love with the pioneering aspect of the film industry in California at that time. I think it completely played into her dream of what America could be. Entrepreneurial, out there, risking all, succeeding. And she felt that was a manifestation of the freedom of America. And I think that was why, wrongfully, she put her energies and the power of the megaphone of her particular column behind the wrong cause.
This relationship between Cleo and Dalton Trumbo, I think it's a unique one, and I want to know, what did you feel was most important to bring to life, to bring to the screen about their relationship?
Well, I suppose if you're going to narrow it down to what's most important, I think there is a scene, certainly we see that she has endured the wars with him and held the family together. He's so sequestered away doing what he does. But when he got out of jail, he was quite hardened. It's a damaging experience. It's supposed to be a damaging experience. It's supposed to be punitive. It's not rehabilitative. It's a shaming thing. So she stopped him from losing perspective and remembering that don't lose your loved ones in the process of this. So because it was touch and go there for a while with them.
Absolutely. I mean, traveling back to that period, not just in Hollywood history, but in U.S. history, what did you find was the most surprising to you?
Directors and writers.
I guess you'd say, tenuous viability of the First Amendment. It's interesting how it can ebb and flow, as a right, and the interpretation of it seems to be kind of elastic as well. And I think with time we understand and value things with a different perspective. So it's good to be reminded.
You are a part of two of the year's, I would say, best written films. And I wonder for you, when you get scripts like this, which are written so beautifully and eloquently, is there a level of intimidation? Like, oh my goodness, I have to bring this to life.
It's more excitement, honestly, on my part. It's thrilling that somebody, created something so beautiful. I usually find myself laughing and saying, being delighted that there's something fantastic, a great story to tell, of which both of these films had that in spades,
Yeah, Steve Jobs, I should mention, that's the other film.
Right.
But I think what also stands out so well in this film is the ensemble. We get a sense of this strong group that had to band together in a really difficult time. How did you want to bring that to the surface?
Well, I mean, there were great characters written by John McNamara in this script, in the script about Dalton Trumbo's life. And, and a lot of famous people as well, very familiar faces: Kirk Douglas, Otto Preminger, John Wayne, Hedda Hopper, Edward G. Robinson. These are, icons in their own right. So, they chose us, I think, really well for each role, and John wrote it beautifully, and I think everybody really went out of their way to step up, to give the best work that they could, and as a result of that, you have, a combination of a great writer and actors who get a chance to really, bite into some great material. And Jay's vision of the whole thing, you'll get a pretty picture and a beautiful ensemble as a result of it.
You also, I think, even though we know about this time in Hollywood history, when you watch this film, there's so many things that become clear that I think a lot of people wouldn't know. What was the most shocking for you?
Well, I mean, it's we can look at newsreels of things and get it seems distant because it's black and white, and it seems almost foreign in some ways, but it's a very human story. It's about individuals trying to hold on to their own rights and having those rights taken away from them, in some cases going to prison for it. So there's a lot to be found and a lot to entertain as well.
I think that this film is so important because it allows us to understand a part of history that I think in many ways connects to today. I wonder how you see that.
There are some parallels. This happens in history all the time, where people sort of trying to make a political name for themselves use fear to whip up a sort of frenzied persecution of another group. In those days it was communism. Today it's probably terrorism. People use terrorism to go after people who may or may not be a threat, and they also use terrorism to justify stripping away civil rights, freedom of speech, right to privacy. Those are the first things that go when you use fear-mongering. It's very convincing.
And you said something interesting, which is that you were a fan of Dalton Trumbo's work before you ever knew the backstory.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what do you think, when he was writing his films, how do you think they expressed where he was at emotionally at that point in his life?
Well, during the Blacklist, he was just trying to make a living, and a few of the films he wrote, Roman Holiday and A Brave One, he didn't really expect them to be hits. He was just trying to make a living, and we had to use other people's names and had multiple phones in the house, so if a different producer called, they would think that person answered the phone. And I think he was just hustling. He didn't sleep. He had to drink to go to sleep, and he would take pills to wake up and start writing. He wrote so many screenplays during that time period that it became embarrassing that the Blacklist wasn't working. Some of the better movies were being written by blacklisted people, so he used his superpower of writing and wit and great facility with language to reveal the lunacy of this ridiculous thing that happened. It really is astonishing that it happened not that long ago, that it happened in a town that's kind of unified now in a certain way, that was so polarized that people would turn on each other and try to destroy their careers and their lives.